For those who missed what the announcement I was making, don't worry, I'm going to pass a document around an official communication. You'll all be able to see the changes in the research program. So let me say, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this third week. Again, we thank you for a gift of life that we can come and have class. Thank you for all the provision that has enabled us to be where we are at and to be doing what we're doing now. We ask, oh Lord, that you shall bless us, bless our efforts. Thank you for our reduced program, for the benefits it has for the so many various reasons. Help us to maximize what we have. And may we all have power and presence of mind to learn. We thank you, Lord, in Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Doctor. Let me pick it right away because time is now limited. So, but I'm good at utilizing time. So I think I'll utilize this time appropriately. Okay, the good news you already know. You have 8 weeks. Doctor has already mentioned that. And we will be doing mine specifically. I think specifically I will be doing 2 hours, 30 minutes. I think I will only waste about 20 minutes for break. Oh no, 10 minutes because I will only do 1 break. And that means you have enough time. Now let me just try to streamline everything that you need to learn in Python before we come to what we're going to cover today. What we reduce is the examples, where we have been having 3, 4 examples. Okay, 3 examples. We will reduce to 1, 2, depending. If you don't understand, we can have the second one. But if you get it on spot, we'll just be having 1 example. Now, I've also looked at, because I know the entire flow of how Python is supposed to be taught or lectured. So there are so many things that we need to cover, but don't worry. I've programmed myself after looking at this. Let us look at the remaining weeks which are there. This week, I'm going to complete Python programming because now I'm handling the last part of the Python programming languages, which is advanced topics in Python. Those are regular expressions, generators and iterators, decorators, content managers, multi-threadings, and multi-processing. So those ones we will cover it today. Then on Livingstone is going to come in the afternoon. Those part of debugging, I don't know if you have covered it. If you've not covered it, just tell him to go ahead. We'll be learning debugging. Like we have been doing debugging, but we will be talking about it concurrently if it is not taught, so that you guys can finish up with the library frameworks, those NumPy, pandas, those other matplotlib, so that when I come on Wednesday, I'm going to introduce Python for data science. That means I'll run Python for data science for this week and next week. I'm sure you guys are going to master it. I'll keep it like very statistical so that you understand what they call the descriptive statistic and then the inferential statistic, because that's the core basis of data science. And then you handle data visualization. So that is I'll cover it within this week and next week. Then, because we are in the month of what? July. Now, the other remaining 2 weeks of July, someone should mute, please, to reduce on the echo. The other remaining 2 weeks of July, starting from this Saturday, those ones who want to show up on campus, those ones who are near and they want to show up on campus to help us create our own data for our machine learning algorithm should start coming, because I need also to transcribe them into the .bmp format. So I need also some time so that I can extract those images and then convert them. So that when we are doing our actual, but those fingerprints, don't worry, they are going to be anonymous. They won't be assigned to anyone, okay? They will be purely anonymous. That means I'll deal with the data protections. Your data will be anonymous. So it's going to be, no one will access it. So it's going to be basically, because we are going to apply distortion on it, we are going to apply some overlay, make it blur. So then that would be our target data. Then the data, which we will do the machine learning training on it, will also be a distorted image. So don't worry about that. Okay, that is one thing that I wanted to pass out. Then Livingstone will also introduce data analysis and manipulations and visualization with pandas. If he can start all of them today, that would be good. And also, let's ask question. We are here to understand. I'm not going to move very fast because I want to cover a lot. I'll just move based on how people are understanding. But trust me, you guys are going to pick up this all concepts and we'll be able to proceed. So that would be for the month of what? July. We will have data visualization, machine learning. That means we have left one concept of where Python can be applied in web development. Now, that one of web development, we will be doing it concurrently with our final project assignments, because we will be, for those who would take that it will be in the last 2 weeks of supervision. That is week 7 and week 8. That is when we will be on campus and we will be learning all these things together. So it won't be more of a Zoom class, but we will meet on campus, all of us, and then we look at how we can go about it. But I know one thing of physical meetups, we don't cover much. Probably that is what is there, but we will see what we will do to balance that. But we will start working on our assignment in week 7 and week 8. And week 8, you will be submitting. As week 8 is ending, you will be able to submit. They are not going to, but you will receive the assignment on week. Okay, at the end of this month, you're going to get the final project assignment. So having talked about that and having programmed you, now you know what Python can do. Even if we do not cover it, you know it is used for web development using Django and Flask. Then it's used in machine learning, supervised learning, and unsupervised learning. Those are the 2 concepts we will cover, and then some bit of deep learning. Then we will also, of course, we will do basic now. If you look at, I don't know, if you go for your master's in computer science, you will be able to cover introduction to machine learning. And of course, you will be able to be taught almost all those concepts. I don't know, but that's what I know. Yeah. But having said that, I know all those concepts you will cover, but that is all what Python is all about. So if anyone tells you what Python can do, now you're very familiar right now that I can use Python to build applications. You've seen what you've been able to, simple programs with GUI interfaces. You can build web applications with Django or Flash. Then you will be able to Flask. You will be able to also build a machine learning model. You depend whether it is supervised or unsupervised, you know, then you will be able to go by that. Then also you would be able to use Python for data science. And I think one of the most rich area right now that most businesses really, you see, it used to be those people who did Bachelor of Statistics or economics, but they're the one who used to be in the field of data analysis. But right now, the programmers, those who have learned data science are now taking up, it's consuming that course. So now because even those ones who are working in the field, you have to use R programming language, R, which is for data analysis. So then visualization, you can use Power BI. You listen to those names a lot, or Tableau a lot. Yeah, because this is my area, this is my field. So basically I rotate around the data science, machine learning, and web development. Those are the only areas I deal with in Python. So I rotate around data science, machine learning, and then web development. So that's the area that I've specialized in it. So, but there's a growing demand for data science. That means almost everyone needs an insight of the data, a data-driven decision. For any company or any business, they want data that is well represented to help drive decision-making processes. So having said that, I think that was a good background. I spent about 10 minutes talking about it. Back to business. Day 6, advanced topics in Python. Today we're going to learn basically there are 5 concepts. We're just looking at the concepts and how we can apply the concepts. So these concepts, we will apply them easily because, you know, with all programming languages, I think multi-threading and multiprocessing, you should have done it in Java or C. So if it is not covered, but anyway, the concept will be able to do it today. So this is what we're going to cover. Let's start with regular expression. I tried to make, because I never wanted to type this part of this long text, so I type it earlier. I know many of you would say I'm fast, but I'm not fast. I've just mentioned what we are going to cover. To remind you, we're going to handle regular expressions, generators, and iterators. You've covered some bit of iterators. Then we'll handle decorators, then context managers, multi-threading, and multiprocessing. But before we jump into that example, we need to first understand these regular expressions. I've given you a summary here that this symbol here, basically now I'm going to be using this symbol because I should have typed. That's, you know, the forward slash and the backward slash. So the backward slash D matches any digit 0 to 9. First, understand the symbols because you're going to use the symbols a lot. So that one matches, it matches the digits from 0 to 9. And then we also have the backward slash W, this one, backward slash W, matches any alphanumeric character. Alphanumeric means A to Z, lower or uppercase, 0 to 9, and underscores. We will be able to see how we can implement one example with underscores, especially with text or the staircase method that we normally use in Python. Then we also have, just keep mastering this, you will refer to it all the time, that this one matches any digit, backward slash W matches any alphanumeric character, and then backward slash S matches any white space character, space, tabs, or new line. So you use this, okay? Then the dot, forget about this colon, it's just what is this side, okay? So the colon matches any character except a new line. Any character except a new line. Then the asterisk matches 0 or more occurrences of the preceding character or a group. I believe this is easier. As we go through it, we will understand them. Then the plus matches 1 or more occurrences of the preceding characters or group. Then the question mark matches the 0 or 1 occurrences of the preceding character or a group. Then we also have the square bracket and with the square bracket with nothing inside. So it matches any character within the square bracket. So any character which is within the square bracket, it will match it. Now, you may ask, why am I talking about this? Have you ever realized that whenever you punch in your password, they tell you it is incorrect when you punch in a wrong password? Because there's something which is matching it. And that's the application of regular regression. Your email address, if you type in a wrong email address, logically, which code is doing that? Okay? So there's a code that we call it re.search. Okay? Re.find, re.match. So those are the concepts that are being used to help match some of those characters. So it helps in searching. So I'll be able to explain all these concepts together so that you understand them. Okay. Then we also have the question mark. I've just given you in that aspect, which I know it's going to be easier. I will also give you that example right away, so that after one example, we can look at that. That would be the end of regular expressions. Then we also have the square bracket with this arrow. I've always said that people help me find this. I think I will, after I've just forgotten about this symbol here. The arrow pointing upwards. Forgotten about the name. Matches any character. You could type in the chat if you could grab this so that I always be using it rightly. Okay, matches any character within the square bracket. So any character which is within the square bracket, it matches. But remember, there is a white space after this symbol. Then you also have this symbol here, which is the upward arrows. Matches any character within the square, within the brackets. This is within the square bracket. No, matches the start of a line. So that is that symbol. Then we have the last one, which is the dollar symbol, matches the end of the line. So this matches the end of the line. So basically, that is what we will look at it. Now, when you're dealing with this matching, the concept can easily be aligned in this form. Now that we have talked about matching, let us try to let's try to do it into two categories. Let's have matching and searching. Then matching and replacement using regular expression re. Okay, so let me begin quickly with the matching. Let's begin with the matching and searching. Okay, now I'm also going to go ahead and try to help you that whenever you're using regular expressions, you need to always focus on the functions, because they are represented in form of what? Function. For match, it's having a function. Oh, sometimes it's called regular expression, regex. Okay, they call it regex. Okay, but regex can be for matching. Let's just use re.match. So it will go with this function dot match. Okay, then that is for matching. Then or regex dot search. Okay, with the function search, I just use re dot search. That is for searching. Then because we are looking at searching, matching, and searching, then we can look at it in terms of re. Okay, put a comma. We can also look at one in terms of, we have match, search, and then we also have find all. Re dot find all with the function find all. All right, so this is where you apply the concept of matching. So let's have our example one. Example one. Now, in our example one, I just want to make it easier because we will deal with text. I know I've explained, I've talked a little bit fast, but I would take a 1 minute question if everyone is at the same level with me at this point. One question. One question. Unmute. The number is low today. I don't know why. 96? That's too dangerous, especially with me who is good at tracking students. Better tell your friends to join. We are 135 away from the previous registration forms I've been seeing. This will affect you directly in terms of marks. I just have to tell you that if you miss my class, you're going to be affected a lot. Because I match almost everything using data science. Attendance, matching, scores, exercise, everything. I use data science. So no one is asking questions. That means everything is fine. So let's see if we can try to do some bit of matching, okay? And see. We will keep referring to these symbols. This is something that we are going to be using it throughout because we may not be able to cram all this for now, but we can be able to we can be able to reuse them all the time. So in our example, we're just going to match like text, and then we will also match a group of text, okay? Then we will also be able to see if we can match numbers in a text. So let's create a text. You guys have been dealing with some file handling with Livingstone, and you created some name.txt file, just like this file here, ruth.txt file. But here, I want us to create our file. So let's match first word, and let's match the word. Okay, let's match. We are just demonstrating. Example 1, demonstrating regex. Fine, regular expression. Regex is regular. So we our focus, because people may not know what we are doing, our focus is to match first word. Match first word. And then also we can also match group word. Match first word, match group word, word or words. Then we can match all numbers. Match all numbers. Yeah. So it's going to be first simple example with matching and searching. Then I can bring in the other concept if you want some more advanced examples. Yes, but let me start with the simple example. So whenever you're dealing with regex, which is regular expression, in advanced topics in Python, you need to apply import, which is a module. Livingstone has taught you all this mod. Okay, I don't know whether all, but just know it's a module. So, wow. So the beauty is that tab 9 is suggesting for me that we need to have a text, maybe what we are referring to. So when I do this, but I can change the text to something that I want. Let me change this text to, because this is a generated thing, I don't need it. I need to format it in a way that, in a way I like the text. I just need a text, but let me use the text the way I want it. So I will have a text, hello world. Let's do hello. My name is, I'd planned to use Jeff Geoff. My name is Jeff Geoff. I put a dot. Then I am a programmer with 10 years of experience. All right. So why am I interested? I'm interested in the first text to match it. Okay, fine. I'll be matching the first word. That's okay. And I'm interested in this. I could even call it 15 years of experience. Now, because I already have numbers and I want to match all these numbers. I want to match all these numbers. Okay. And you already know, okay, how to deal with what? How to deal with some of this. We are just going to use the application. Now, when you have regex match, then match first number, you know what you're going to do? Now you're going to go straight to the match. Okay. Now let's get the matching of the text. So you're going to write a variable. Okay, you create a variable match. Sorry, a variable match to, because you're going to deal with what? You're going to search. Okay. What are you going to search for? Now, this is where you're going to search for. Let's first be clear here. Now, dear colleagues, what are we going to search for? Now, because we want to match this first number, no, the first what? First word. What is contained in the first word? Is it numbers? Is it? So what is contained in the first word? We now want to start using the symbols. Okay. So when we see what is contained in the first word is what? Alphanumeric. So we have W, okay? And then we don't have any digits. We just have the W. So let's see how we can implement that. So whenever you're going to match, because you're using search, you would use R, okay? Then open the quotes. Okay. And tab. Now, I think this should be able to match our first word. Then you could use a logical expression. Okay. So you could say if match, let's print so that it prints that group. I'm sorry, whenever I reach some points, I start using tab 9 and people will say I'm too fast. No, so if variable match, this variable match, then print match with a group of what? With a group of all this and see what it will display. I don't know, let's try it. Probably if we run into an error, I'll talk about debugging, because I just allowed tab 9 to suggest for me. But what I know is that this first symbol here, if I go back to this, it will tell me that matches the start of a line. Okay, start of a line. Then this, I didn't put it in a bracket. I just have this, then I have this. Matches any alphanumeric character, the W. Okay. What if we let's run this in the terminal. Let's not fear this stuff. Okay. We don't have an error. If we see the output error means the matching and the search for that first line and then matching has been done successfully. So let's try it out. Oh, okay. Please work. But it will work. Jeff Geoff .py. All right. Nothing happens. What? Okay. So I could now improve it a bit. Why didn't it? Sorry. Why has it refused to work? Just forgive me. I just had a twist of tongue. So let's just implement something here, because I realized that whenever we use match, so let's use it in this way. Match. We put, okay, match. Let's do matches. Then close quotes. Okay. All right. Let's run it one more. Oh, all right. We also have to add something here like match dot group to help match it. Okay. Match. Okay, run it one more time. If it refused, then I know what we're going to do. Still nothing. Okay, I think the problem is right here. Okay, let's implement B. Then let's match anything with, okay. Oh, okay. For W. Okay. 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 Let's run that and see. Trace back match. A string in line 4 should be matches. It's going to work. Oh, match. Oh, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, this is debugging. You just keep seeing. It's a good practice to debug. And I told you Python is case sensitive. So this is where the problem is coming from. We should use that. Yeah, it should be a comma. It should be a comma, not a dot. So don't worry, it should work. And that is the debugging we talk about. Wow, there we go. So we fixed the error. And I think these are the things, the fun moments you need to enjoy whenever you're dealing with what? You're dealing with, we could even change this because this is just a str, a string. So should be able to do that. Okay. Okay. Right. So now it has matched the first word, which is what? Hello. Now let's see if we can match. Let's see if we can match what? Let's see if we can match numbers. So for matching numbers, we use D. We use D. Okay. So let's see how we can match the number. Let's try to implement that and we see. Okay. So we will have first to create, because we have the first variable match. So let's make our new variable matches. Now we have the new variable matches. Then we can actually find all. find in all the what? In all the strings, this variable, all whatever is here, so that we can use the find in all to see if we can get. Okay. Oh, but we said numbers. So I could change, instead of W, I can put it to D. These are just line breaks. The forward B is for line breaks. You're just interested in this. These are for line breaks. Okay. Then whatever is in the text. So we just look for whatever is in the text. Then it should be able to, because we are using the symbol D, let it get all, everything. That's why we are putting plus. Plus means matches one or more occurrences of the preceding character. That's why we use it here to get one or more, and then we also used it here. So let's now get the output. So print, since we created that variable matches, let's just separate it from the other upper word, matches. So matches, do we need to put it in groups? What if you don't put it in groups and we also just leave it there? It should be able to work. Okay. So we should have now two lines. The first line matching the first word, and then the second line matching for numbers. So let's run that. Oh. What's funny? Oh, this puts us in what is in the bracket. Okay, let's remove this. It should be able to work. The D as a forward backward slash D. Okay, let's save it. Clear it up. Run. Okay, nice. So that D puts something in the bracket, which I just didn't want it. So that's how you match. You match what? You match anything, numbers and text. So with that said, we can look at now. This is how we have implemented it. We can, okay, probably one person share your screen. I allow you to explain, because when you listen from other people, you may pick it in a way. So this array is for the regression, okay? What we're referring to regression expression. That's why we use the R. Okay. All right. So this is how you do the regular. I mean, the R is for regular expression. So let's see if someone can share the screen and we see if it has worked. Just one or two, then we jump back. You've been following. So just one or two, share your screen. We look at it. And you also explain.
So this is Owen.
Yes.
Okay, so this is I import the module, right? Then this is my text. Hello, my name is Owen256, who is a programmer. Then we find a match. And then I use I use the model. Then inside the model, I use one of its method, which is search. Then the R is to make to treat this string as a raw string. Then I want to search for the first word in my text. So actually it's what I want to return. So that means I use this arrow, meaning that I want the first word at the beginning, then close the backslash W. W returns any alphanumeric character. Then I use a multiplication, or you can use a plus by multiplication. A multiplication returns 0 or more occurrences of what? Of the specified character. Then a plus returns 1 or more occurrences. Then I want to search in the string. Then if the match is there, I want to print match found. Then I concatenate it with a match.group. So when I try to run it here, when I try, as you can see here, match found, hello, the first one. That means has returned actually the first word in my text. Then the next one was for the digit. For this case, I used a plus instead of a multiplication. The only difference with a plus
I don't think you're supposed to. You're Owen.
Yes,
Owen, are you
Yes,
supposed to import array every time?
Yeah, I have to import. No, it doesn't. It's not like a must to import every time, but it's what I did just for my sake. You can import it at once.
Easy.
So then for the numbers, I put I'm searching in the I use the D, then the plus, and this will return the any string in the text. So but maybe in the text. So maybe I can, because something's not right here. If I do this. Okay. Anyway, I think my thing for the dig is not working. Let me first work on it.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, I also have a simple example here, and I'm Emmanuel Abdallah.
Yes, Emmanuel.
So to add on what we have looked on so far, we can also specify it maybe using the words we are looking for. Like I have a text, I have an apple and a banana. Then up here, I have a variable. Then I'm specifying a path, the pattern, what I want to look for. I want to look for apple. Then I use this pattern. I supply this pattern as what I'm looking for. Then in the text, which I have already written up there, instead of using the simples, I can give that pattern. Then it searches. Then if it is found, then I display using a condition, print match found. Otherwise, no match found. Or I also use this another variable matches, where I'm searching for the first word, and that word is I. And you can see here, I display matches.group and it print I. Then in the second, where I display match found, it is for the apple, where I have a pattern. So that is what I have briefly. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Owen. Now let me be the one to proceed because of time. Because let me show it to you with a real practical, what we normally use it when you're coding an application. So especially if you're having a login interface that requires you to validate emails. Okay, let's just look at it in that one aspect. So because it is just the first example, there are so many ways to approach it, but the good thing is understanding the concept. if you've understood the concept after this example, I'll try to give you one simple time. Ah, Jesus. Okay, let's see what to do. Okay, let's see what to do. Just example 2. Now here, let us just validate the image format. Validate email format or email address. Now, the funny thing is that because I've used the word validate email format or email address, we all know how a standard email address is supposed to be. I'm using this simple example so that you can understand. Now, because you all know the format, once it is not that, we will be going back to the occurrence that we'll be checking up in the matching. So let's see how we can do that. First, of course, you know, it's, let me just comment this out. The concept is not difficult. Me, I know the first example is always, then after that, people pick up. So now we're just going to deal with import RE to get the module for regular expression. Then let's define a function, validate email. So, and let's pass in email in our arguments. Now, what you're going to do, because we already have here, when you point, you see we have a function email to validate email. So we want to check if that format is what? Is true. If the format is true, it returns true. If the format is false, it returns false. I'll just demonstrate with my email here. Now, you want it to find a pattern, okay? So a pattern. Now, which pattern do you want it? So re-import it. Now, let's just, you can even use, I hope people understand that when you use a single quote, it still refers to strings, str. I hope you would, I believe you know that. Now, we know very well that email addresses, very well. We know very well that email addresses, let me first have an example here of a typical email address. Like, let's just say Jeff Geoff at gmail.com. So this is the format. But are you aware that some emails may even have numbers, Jeff, Geoff, maybe, and maybe like Google adds in, if that email is taken, it adds in a number. You all know that, right? That means with such kind of, I've actually added even a dot here, jeff.geoff at gmail.com. So this is how Google, this is how you can try to do those matching in those email validation. Now you need to see, I have a text and a symbol here. I have a text, a number here. Now let me go to the occurrences of matching. So I'll definitely use, okay, do I have to use D? You're not only looking for digits. With emails, it will always be alphanumerics. So you're going to use this symbol. Okay? Now, what other symbol are you going to use apart from that? Let's go to the bracket, to what is in the bracket here. Match any character within the square bracket. You can use the square bracket to match any character within the square bracket. Now let me use this symbol one at a time, and then we come back and what? And reflect on our summary. Now, I'm going to start with the first symbol, which I've given you an assignment. No one has typed it in the chat. This symbol here.
I have already typed. It's called caret.
Let me check it because I've taken long without seeing it. It's called what? I can't. Did you send it directly to me? I said don't send me direct messages.
Not direct.
Send it to everyone because everyone is supposed to learn.
It's called caret. It's there in the chat.
Am I the one who is not seeing?
Maybe because the messages are many. Let me type it
Oh,
again.
I've seen. It's called caret. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw a message from Dr. Ruth that I shouldn't worry about time. Thank you, doctor. We always look up to you for helping this program to be well laid. So let's not worry about time. Let's now go. Understanding is important. Wow, you're giving me the energy. Yeah, I'm doing this because you guys, I expect a lot. By the way, me, I want to be a billionaire. And the only way I can be a billionaire is to work with you. So, and I want to start working. I think I'm building up something, a podcast. And I want to use you as part of my, you benefit from it. It's a way for you, everyone. That's the thing, because me, my entire life is all about helping people. That's what I'm focusing on. And I want you guys, because I believe that even with what Mark Zuckerberg and all those billionaires, they decided all the ideas begins at the university. And I have always looked at, I've been missing my opportunity, and I want to use you people. That's why I'm putting in a lot of effort to teach you very well so that we can prosper together. I know I'm looking at this in the long-term vision, but I think I will be able to achieve it if we all work together and promote one another. Me, I'm not doing this because I'm looking at money. I just want us to understand these things because I believe as Africans, we can be better off. And that's why I'm putting in my effort to make sure that you guys learn, you guys participate, you guys understand the things. Whenever I call you, come and participate, learn this, so that when we have any kind of business or any contracts, because we can use Dr. Ruth always as our PI, our principal investigator. They need someone with a PhD, and she has been working with us. It's very easier for me to write proposal, put her, and then for us, we be the implementers. You guys, you can be better off. I've seen, like, now there's something which is paying me. It's a 70,000 USD grant. It's a competition that is globally, but I can't do it alone. I need people to work with. And the only way is to first train them. You need to train the people who you want to work with. And the good news is we have Dr. Ruth who can be our PI throughout, our principal investigator. So let's understand these things. Don't look at it in terms of studying. That's why I'm laboring my effort. No, I'm looking at it in terms of long-term vision to be a billionaire, because I've seen many people are able to do it. And this goes back to helping you. Some idea that I come up with, we're all going to implement it together. And I've picked very good students, Zahara and Elisha. Let's work with those people. You will see. Let's try to work together and we see if we can create a footprint to the world. So if I say that, please meet Elisha, meet Zara, please meet them. I want us to use this opportunity to make money. Learn these things very well to make money. We are in school to make money, not to be poor. Let's change our mindset. So learn it knowing that I want to make money with what I'm understanding. Okay, back to business. So let's now, this caret will be able to match the start of a line. So that's why matching the start of the line, we use the caret. Now, let's put not the square bracket. Okay, it's the square bracket, not the curly braces. So now let's go back to the square bracket. What does it do? it matches any character within the square brackets, any character within the square bracket. Now, if it is any character within the square bracket, let's pick everything alphanumeric. I use W, okay? Now that would help to match any character within that square bracket. Then also the dot. Remember, some emails have, like the way I'm explaining here. I'm trying to use this example to help understand. Okay? Then this thing has suggested for me all this stuff, but sometimes I tend not to trust what it gives. Okay, let me just use tab. Okay. Hopefully it has picked everything, but it's better I explain them one by one. So that will pick for the dot. These symbols are so many. Okay. Then plus, let's see, plus the symbol at. This at here is this one. So anything within the bracket plus, it adds anything here, plus any other text. At is the symbol. And then the same thing, it's going to be what is here in a similar way. We haven't closed the bracket, the square bracket, so we need to close that. Okay. Then we need to put plus. Plus, okay. The forward NA, and then we need to put a dot. So this particular part here, pick up for any category of email, Gmail, whether written in any format. Okay. Then the last bit of it is now .com. .com is always straightforward. It's either .com, .net, so we can use a W with a letter plus and a dollar. Okay, so I think that now helps to pick up that. Now let's go to our condition. If our, let's call it match, we match pattern of email. Nice. What do we want it to return? Let it return true if it is true. Otherwise, if it should return that the email is false. Okay. You can just say return return false, or you can say return. You could use true, you could use false, you could say correct email. Correct email. So you could use anything that you wanted to return, but to keep it simple first, let's just keep it to true or false. All right. Now, let's see how we can now implement with examples of those emails. Let's have those emails which are true and the one which are false. Because just assume that you are entering how we normally use email. Email example of how you use email. So let's say that email, okay, let's say that email 1, we create a variable with a string. Let's have the correct format of an email. I can pick this first one. let me just pick this and make it more complex with a dot, because it contains almost everything. Now let's have another variable like email2, which is incorrect. Now in the email2, for it to be an invalid email, do you know what makes it an invalid email? If I remove the dot there, is that a correct email? I've just done something small. Okay. Now let's try to get the output. Print. We can just validate the first part only. Validate from the function validate email. Then we pass in email 1, 2. So multiple. We have something complaining here. Okay. So let's debug. Why is it complaining? And okay. All right. That is debugging. As simple as that. It was complaining and I knew it won't work. Yeah, so that is it. So let's see if it can work in the terminal. Okay. Positional arguments were given in email 1 and email 2. Oh, so 463. We could solve that by printing them differently. Okay. Yeah. So let's print one at a time. For the email 1 is true. We expect it to return true. So email 1 is correct, right? We expect email 2 to be, because it's not correct. So see, let's just duplicate this print and have it to be email 2. Okay, so email 2 is false because you know what it is. Please share your screen. That is the end of I'm going to the next concept after that. But please, one person share your screen. That's how you implement it. Any question? Yeah. Did it work, Emmanuel?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
I have a function here, it checks for the email, and I have two email 1, which is correct, then email 2, which is invalid. So you can see these two emails here, you can see the pattern, this one here, which is not correct. So the output is the first one. When I print it out, it is true, the second one is false.
Okay, let's check in the chat if everyone is with us. I'll return to share my screen. Okay, Owen. Yes, Owen. Go ahead, explain people to understand, then we move to the next concept.
So this is my function validate email. Mine actually at the start, I'm gonna start return. Okay, we check whether they are ordinary characters, and actually they are lower cases. That's why I say from A to Z. Like my email, won't be containing capital letters. Then I add on a digit, like the next characters after the string will be a digit. So it can either be a multiple digits or it can either be a single digit. That's why it's this O, the O sign. Like there can be either multiple digits or a single digit. Single digit, there was no here a plus, and here there's a plus for multiple digits. Then plus the at, then the at, then it plus maybe the gimme word. So that also string must also be in small letters. That's why it's from A to Z, then plus dot, then plus A to Z for the .com. So then if there is a match in the pattern, return to then or false. So they have two emails, email one when James one, like this one is correct, and then this one is incorrect because there is no digit here. So when I try to run it, as you can see here, down here, for the first one, email one, it is true because it's a format which I want. Email two, it is incorrect because there is no digit here. It's returning false. That's it.
Okay. Now, that is well said. Let's now try to move to another example. If there's any question, I would take one. If people have not understood. You know, it's expected. Me, I know as human beings, we don't have the same way of grasping things. So you can unmute and we take that one question and we proceed.
Sir.
Yes.
About your example.
Yes.
What happens if someone writes Jeff Geoff without the dot? Is it false or?
What did you get?
Because according to your, no, I haven't used your exact example.
No, let's just try it practically here. I just put it Jeff Geoff without the dot.
Yeah.
Okay, I mentioned it here. Remember in our pattern here, we put the dot to provide for a situation if someone will use a dot on that email. But I expect this to also work. Let's just run it because it works. So this is a valid email.
Okay.
Because there are emails which are written in that format. It must have 2 digits. Okay. All right. Any question? Because if there are questions coming in, it guides me. No questions. Let's move to the next concept. So what is the next concept here? Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I have a question on how to use the plus. Is it for saying that this comes after the other, or it's for saying that this can have a certain number of occurrences?
Just help me read this for yourself. We shall help you to interpret.
Matches what normal occurrences of the preceding character or group.
So what have you understood about it?
Not much.
Not much. So when you look at the preceding occurrences of character, that means when you look at this /W, which is alphanumeric. So let's look at it in this example. Jeff. So this is a character. So it match this first character here, and that's why we use this. You're talking about this plus. So we group any category of this as long as it is in the first. It may be the first. It may be the one starting. Then the preceding, meaning it is the first character following the plus picks any other character that comes after, any alphanumeric character that comes alpha with spaces. You know, there are emails with hyphen. Do you know like an email can also go with hyphen? If some, okay, we're just thinking that what if someone use an hyphen? That's why we have this hyphen here, this prefix, okay? Or a dot. But anything within the bracket, any preceding of the first character, of the occurrence of the first character, it picks. So that's the logic. Any question? I've answered you very well. Any question? All right. So let's move to the next part, which is going to be generators. Generators and iterators. Now, with the generators, just allow me comment this. Don't worry, we will, even if we run into any error, we will be able to debug it. Let's not fear errors, okay? As you guys, you programmers, you're going to be running into a lot of errors and always fixing it. Me, I actually love doing something, and if it doesn't work, I'm always interested in trying it the second time. Okay, that's my that's my way of being strong in Python programming. Whenever I get a problem, I'll be showing you. Let me also talk about debugging as we proceed. Whenever I get an error, the first thing is if I see a problem here, then I go back to that problem and read it. I don't know whether you get time to do that, but that's why I want to what? I want us to try it out in that way. So what generators means, generator is a powerful concept it's a very powerful concept when it comes to advanced topics in Python. It allows for efficient and iterative processing of data. Like if you want to try to repeat some processes, you can use the generators to help you. And these generators help you to yield like results of the keywords that you want it to return. Like if you want to return, let's say you're trying to iterate through a certain limit of a number, you can use this concept of generators. They are defined using the yield keyword. Whenever you see this keyword here, yield, or in single quote, I can say yield, that means you are applying what okay, nice, you see it, you are applying what they call what? A generator. And now it helps to return that keyword. So this is basically what we refer to what? As generators. Then on the other side, we also have what they call iterators, okay? Now iterators are objects that implement, let me just look at it in this way. So iterators are objects that you've done iteration, that sometimes you help to loop kind of through a range, but to check through all those sequence. But here, iterators, they are basically objects that implement iterator protocols. You know how the iter protocols work. So that's how you apply those iterator things. So the iterators here, like, let's have maybe one like with okay. So the iterators, so those methods, they help to return object by itself, okay? like if we will see how to implement this in a real like maybe you're dealing with cars, or you want to start, you want to stop. When do you start? When do you stop? So we can probably try to use only these two examples for us to generate those through kind of a loop, create a loop of a sequence. That is basically what we can deal with this in generator. So, but sometimes in iterators, you can iterate through like the next number. So you could probably implement them using, sometimes you can use double quote or next. So those next can be like iterate through like the next until you stop the iteration process. So like it's that protocol that you implement when you're doing the iteration. So we will try to implement this method of iteration. This one will always be our method that we will always use. So let's look at maybe one example. We'll try it out one more time with everyone, and then probably everyone is going to be able to understand the concept. Okay. So let's begin with a simple example here. Let's try to, what can we think of that can use a generator? Let's go back to our A-level math. What if we create a function that deals with the factorial of a number, that takes the input and then returns the factorial of that number? Can we use generator to do that? Let's think about the function. Let's think about if we define a function that does the factorial. So let's try to implement that, and we see. Then that means the print of the factorial can be from depending from the range, like maybe from 1 up to some number, to 1 to 10. Okay. So let's pick up a function. Let's define a function for generator. Let's deal with factorial. So the factorial, I hope the spelling is right. So we can use the n, which will pass. Now here, let it what? Return what? Return the number of elements. Or no, let it return, because because I'm dealing with factorial, you may be a little bit confused. Let it return the factorial of a number. Okay, so what can we think about? Let's say if n is equals to 0, then it return 1. Then else what should it return? Who knows the formula of a factorial? Can you type it in the chat? I'm kind of forgetting it, but I think it's return, no, it should be return n
times n minus
factor. We could use this -1. All right. So now we want it to, let's try to print the factorial of a number from, let's look at it in terms of a range. Print.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
You should also return 1 in case it is 1, because the factorial of 1 is also 1. So the upper condition should contain 2 when n is 0 or n is 1.
Sure. A factor of 1 is 1. Let's see. I've taken note of that. we will see. But let's first do it for a range. I'm thinking about how we can implement this. Let's just have a factorial from factorial of numbers from, let's try to look at it from what? From 1 to 10. Okay. Then we can try to look at, because we are interested in how we can use what? How we can use these generators. Okay. So let's see if we can print the factorial and iterate through it, through that range. So how can we implement that? Can we use the for loop? So for I in range, so that it tries to get for us, it takes those input and then returns for us the factorial of a number. Let's use the for loop. So for I in range of 1 to, what's our range? Is 1 to 10, eh? So let it print the factorial. So it would be the factorial for what the variable I is. Okay. We don't have any error. Hopefully we can have this executed. Okay. So I think it takes care of 1. The factorial of 1 is 1. So from that range of 1 to 10 takes care. So even if I don't use the other second conditions that you said, so it takes care of that. Yeah, I think that's how you can implement generators. So it just keeps generating those numbers. Any question? Because we're not mining about time, but we're mining about what we can cover. I think this concept is easier.
Yes, sir. Okay. I have a question. My question is, because like in this program, I've seen it like is just a regular program that we've been using. So how come it is now categorized as generator? I don't see the difference with the other program which we have been writing.
There's no difference, but let me explain to you what we want to understand here in this concept of what? Of generator. Because what you need to understand is that the concept of generator helps you. I'll explain to you, because this is what is more important. Where you see this word return, okay? We could even change it and use the word, instead of return, you can say, use the word yield, okay? Otherwise, yield or return, it should be able to work. So we use, when we're defining it, you could use the word yield instead of return, okay? Which still does the same stuff. Now, I think this is true. Or okay. Or generator. generator object factorial at that. Okay. We're now kind of running into an error, but this is, let me explain this. It's not an error, but this is how they implement what they call generator. So this concept of generator, instead of you defining it using the keyword return, you use the word yield. Then that is when you would be able to see that generator functions can be used to create iterators. The only thing which is funny here is that it's basically not returning the output. That's the only thing. But it shows us that these are just generators. That is the only concept that because generators are functions that can be used to create iterators, and they are defined using the keyword yield instead of return. So when you use the keyword yield instead of using the keyword return, that becomes what we refer as what? Generator. And of course, these functions helps to return an iterator that can be used to iterate over a sequence of values. And it's exactly what we have tried to do. But only thing which I find it weird is that if I change it to yield in my terminal, it just shows generator object. But if I use the keyword, return, you know, these are reserved words in Python. Okay, I think you should try to Google and understand one thing, that the keyword for generator in Python is yield. That is it. Any question? The keyword for generator in Python are defined with the word yield. That's why I say that we use the word yield for generator. Any question? We look at iterators. Any question? We look at iterators. There are no questions. Okay, cool. Let's go to the next concept. Example 3. Sorry, I forgot to give you guys a break, but it's okay.
Mr. Jeffrey, you're muted.
I had internet problem before we went for a break. So I've just reconnected back. I thought I was the only one. So we doctor, I think we are still in a break for like 5 more minutes. Trevor, can you turn off your camera because you're consuming people's data? Just a break of 5 minutes.
So
yes.
I was requesting you first show us your code down for the generator.
It's here. Let me show it to you. But I'm going to use one more example, which combines both the generator and an iterator. Then it is going to be able to sort out all your problems. But this is my code.
So
okay.
I think I figured out what was the reason it was not returning the values was you were printing the location of the object instead of the actual object of the generator. Because when I was looking at some online resources, normally they run the generator, then they iterate through the values generated by the by the generator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you first display what you had shown, and I figure out.
I let Majaliwa share his screen. It was actually more detailed than mine. The one was sharing during the break.
We don't need a detailed thing. We don't need a detailed thing. No, but anyway, it's okay. I'll show you in this other example. I'll show you how to use the yield. Not that I know how to implement it. Let me implement it. Because most of these things I'm just writing them according to how I know them. Not how I'm not using people's code most of the time when I'm writing this stuff. But of course, people have already written some of these ideas. They're similar, but I'm just writing it in my own way, the way I understand it. But let's just look at this example 3. Because whenever I'm teaching, I always try to write my own code. I don't normally rely on people's codes that I don't understand. But that's why you see I try as much as possible to make it much easier for people to understand. But let me give you one more example.
No,
then
sir. Maybe I also have more input.
Yes.
That's mine is a small, I think before when we use the yield, actually the yield doesn't need operation like this multiplication. It yields a digit. So if we were to modify the code a bit, that's in the else part, it was going to work.
No, okay, let me tell you, I know what you're saying. What you're saying, if let's say that I put a double asterisk and then I use a yield, it's going to work. Not that I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, but I don't want to use people's code. I just want to write the codes the way I understand them. Okay? And the way I'm trying to implement them. So this is what it means with factorial Bundy generators. So when I run this code like this, it still generates for me the error. But you wait and see how I'm going to implement it in this example. It's something that just ask yourself these simple questions whenever you're programming. Why doesn't it work with the yield?
So
because Why? Just answer that question. Why?
So let's try something here together. Maybe I'm just instead of yeah. So now instead you first put like let the else part have a variable, maybe like result, and then we yield the result down for the else part.
Okay. So
there's something I have in the chat there.
that is going to work if you bring it into the variables now. That is going to work. If you're just going to use the variable, that's going to work because that's what I want to implement in the next example. Me, I was just looking at the code at this situation. It will work when you create a variable. That one I know it works. I don't even need to try it. It works when you use a variable. When it is like this, it doesn't work. So can you use it with a variable?
Yes.
Okay. Let's leave this the way it is. Let me show you something that I want to implement using that concept of yield. Because according to the way I've been explaining, instead of using you using the keyword return, you use the keyword yield for generators. Isn't that what I've been explaining?
Yes.
Yeah, then for the iterators, you can let's try it. It's still going to be the same concept. Okay, let's finish up. Let's use it in this example, since you really wanted that to work it in that way. So it's going to be yield. It's going to be yield. Okay. Now, when you create when you create a variable, how should we call the variable? I don't want to check what is in the chat, but how should we call the variable? How should we call the variable? These are also muted. I'm not too fast. So someone is saying, huh?
Can call it fact.
Or factorial. Okay. So this person is implemented it below the else here. Okay. So factorial equals to 1. That's basically what this other person is saying. So we created a variable for fact, which is equivalent to 1. Then for I'm just trying to use this person's script and see for I in range. I in range and is passing into 1, then n plus 1. Isn't it over? Then for fact, asterisk, then yield fact. Okay. unexpected indentation.
That should be times equals to I. Times equals to I, then yield fact.
Times equals to Y.
I. Then yield fact should be in the next line.
I still have some problem with the indentation here.
So you're missing the in keyword on line 497.
I'm missing what?
The
in keyword on line 497.
Yeah. I in range. Okay. This should be able to work because now the problems are not there. Why? Still the same thing.
You need to unpack the result in the 4 when you are printing.
I unpack the result in the 4.
You are using the asterisk sign like print star factorial, then it will. Yeah.
Could you show me the one that is working?
Sir, in the else part, you have that function which is still there. I think you need to.
In the else?
Yeah. There's the previous function. Yield.
Yes.
That's upper one. The else, then yield, that first line after else should be deleted. Then also the for loop should be under the else in the function.
Oh, so the for loop here should be under L.
Yeah.
But I still
then
have
the first yield should be taken. The first yield after else.
Okay, indentation.
Meaning the else yield n times factorial. That the operation there is the one causing interruption.
No, I don't see anything complaining now. Does it mean it should be?
It may not.
It may not.
Yeah, because the first line, the first yield.
Which line is that one? You read the line.
494. Find 494. Yeah, that operation there. It is that just like you are performing two operations in the same else, because that is doing the same thing the else the for loop is doing. First delete that line or comment it, then we see.
Okay.
Then the yield, the last yield should be under the indentation. The last yield, the indentation should be under the 4.
Under the
4. Yeah, just put a tab, one tab should be under 4. Yeah, I think it can now run. I think that would be.
Now let me ask you one thing. When you're dealing with factorial, do you use? Okay, let's try it one. Let's think outside the box. What if we change it to a minus? Will it work?
So it will work, but you're just reducing the range for that scenario when you put the minus.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good. Okay, you could use this, but let's first.
I don't know why your output is completely because mine here when I run it is different. It doesn't.
I'm not understanding this code, to be honest, because what
the
output is.
If I say my output is just exactly the way
show me.
Okay, let me say it. This is what I have, and it gives me the factorial 1, 2, 6. Me, I've given the range up to 6. It has given the factorial up to 6. But yours is giving like a binomial kind of triangle. I don't know why it has.
I think now that is where you that's where you get it probably wrong. But maybe we could debate about this because these generators.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the your code. It was here. Line 141. The yield was under the loop, so it is going to, in every iteration it is giving a factorial. So that was why it is giving some
the 2.
Yeah. So if it was to be just in the else block, the the last one should be in the else block, not in the 4, then it was going to give only one result for each iteration.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's somebody's hand which is have Roger. Roger, could you unmute? Roger, could you unmute? Wilfred, could you unmute?
Yes, I have a different implementation that might be easier to understand maybe.
You guys, let's we are wasting time. Let me explain it in a different concept.
Okay.
Let's explain it in a different concept. Let's just use the combination of the 2. We'll still pick up this and understand. Let me implement both of them. This was implementing both the iterators and that. So let's try to implement it in a simpler way. I'll try to explain each and every line of code for you to understand. So what we're going to do here, we're going to create a generator and iterator that will yield the squares of a number. Like let's look at still the square of a number like 1 to 10. So we are now going to deal with the squares of a number. So 2 plus 2, what's the square of 2 plus 2? 1 plus 1, okay? And then we shall iterate over it so that it can display at least the first 5 squares of a number. So let's see if we can implement this this function of a square to yield the square of a number, like from the range of 1 to 10. Okay, still using the same example. So first we are going to generate, using the same example, generate, but this time we are not dealing with factorial. Let's generate a function that I just want to make it here readable for everyone. Yield the square of number from 1 to 10. Okay. Now let's first define. This time around, let's define the squares. So the squares, we're not passing in any argument. Then let's look at the range. For we are iterating for I in range. Should we do range of 1 to 10? Okay, that's cool. We will see what to do. Now let's try to use yield in a similar way, but what we are yielding is we are iterating it. Each incremental, we are iterating it from the range raised to power 2. Then let me try to explain, because this function here, it's having the variable I, which yield its square. Okay, that is the first function of the square that we are dealing with. Then 2, we want to create a variable. Let's create and I'm explaining it, an instant. No, let's just create an object. Let's create an iterator object so that everyone understands, because this is the traditional way of teaching, so that you understand the code. Let's iterate the object that yields the square of the number from 1 to 10. Okay, because I'm commenting everything, so it's, even if you've not understood now, you will understand from here. So let's now look at square iterators. Square underscore iterator. So this would be to squares, to our square function. Okay, this square iterator variable is going to be equated to our square function. All right. I need to create that generator. Okay, nice. Now let us print the first 5 squares first. Print the first 5 squares. Of number from 1 to 10. So how do you print the first 5 squares of numbers from 1 to 10? So you have to use the for I in range. What's the range? Let's do the range to 5. Okay. For I in range, I forgot to put the word in here. Going to have some error. For I in range, let's print because this time we are using the variable square to iterate, that should be able to work logically without any problems. Okay. So we could have it. Ooh. Okay, I think the brackets were many. Now, this would help to print for that range. Then let's also create another list that can print the square list. And we try to see if this could work. But this should be able to work when you run that. Let's try to test it out and see. This is a very simple example with the yield. So it should be able to work with the squares. Let me save it. So the square of 1 is 1, the square of 2 is 2. The square of 3 is 9. The square of 4 is 16. The square of 5 is, yeah. So this works very well. You see, when you're implementing these examples, try to make sure that you keep things simple. Okay, I think that is one aspect of using the iterators. Now let's look at if we want to have those squares like in a list. Do you know how a list is created? We just have this square. Instead of printing them like that, we could have it in a list. So let's create a list.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I don't know why my code is complaining for the square function. The squares function.
First display it here.
Okay.
Roger, are you the one? Because somebody's hand was up.
No. Yeah, it's here. It is complaining.
I think. Yeah, it's complaining because that square thing, you're calling a different function. You define your function.
SQ numbers.
Your function is SQ number.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've got it. Thank you.
Roger? The lecture has refused what? Your wisdom. Can you share? These are advanced concepts, by the way, in Python. Shall we be able to finish all these concepts today? But any question, anyone? Okay, one person share and explain your code. I think Amos is going to understand.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I just mixed the first example with the second. Hope it's okay.
With the yield, okay.
Yeah, so here I created a function that accepts some arguments. Like here it can input multiple arguments, and here it yields, creating a generator object. A generator object can be looked over, or you can use functions that you mentioned, although that's what I did. And when I run this, it will bring okay, let me just run it and just see. It will run properly. So bring true for the first one because it's true, false for this one, false, and true because it matches the expression. But the yield keyword creates iterator that you can either look over or you can use a function next. So I never looked at that, but I just know that you can. Okay.
Okay. Doctor said that we could reach up to midday. It's okay. We will reach midday. People are going to understand. I'm not going to rush it. Thank you, Doctor, for allowing us to proceed to midday.
So yes. Actually, now this is the function squares. So I call, maybe you can call a first value of I to be 1 and also n to be 1. Then you look through a range of for I in range of 10. We are yielding then the square. So then you create an iterator object, which is the squares iterator. So actually this it will be creating the items, like it's looking through the items that are being created by the generator. Then now for m in our range, which we are specifying, for example 10, we are printing with the next to show, like to display to the next iterator object in your list of items generated. So and try to run it here down. Let me first clear this. You can see we shall get So but, this is being brought about by this one, I think. If I take IDs.
All
okay,
right.
so if I try to run it, let me first go and sort out myself because it's remaining there.
Yeah, those, by the way, when you're programming, don't fear those things. Guys, let's look at one concept. Then we're going to stop exactly at 11:30. The two concepts, I'm going to teach them, and then I'm going to leave it on my link for the master class. I already told you guys to what, but on Thursday, I'm going to start Python for data science. The remaining concept, which is, let me share the screen. You should just check it out later. I'm not going to take your time. It's for you. It's for your benefit. This is just an advanced topic that I wanted you guys to get, and basically, these two, multi-threading and multi-processing, and then content managers. I'm going to record, to have a pre-recorded session. Then you will find it on my master class. Be able to check it on your own. It's for your own good. But on Thursday, we will start on Python for data science. That's what I will start with. But let me explain now only this one concept, which is called decorators, so that we can end and then we do registration. So I'll cover the other two concepts. Now, you'll find it, I think, by around 2 p.m. in my master class. So let's have one example of decorators. Then you'll be able to do the rest on your own. Okay, so when dealing with decorators in Python, you use at my, then you call them what? Decorator. So the line at my decorator syntax to decorate the ordinary function. If you just want to, if you create a function like my decorator, so that at my decorator will decorate that function, any ordinary function that you have decided to input. So let's try to implement. It's not a difficult concept. It's one of the simplest concepts you can find. It's like at my decor. Okay, you're defining a function, decorator, then you're passing in an argument for function. Okay. Then in this argument, you can now define this to be your inner function. Okay. Then in your inner function, you can have the print of this, just to a text returning this is the decorator for people to understand how decorators are implemented. Then for function, for it to return the main function, you just use function. Don't use self. Just call function and then return the inner function for the inner function. Inner. Okay. Now, how do you implement decorator? So you make sure you come back to the first line, leave like 2 lines, and then you create this my decorator. Okay. So that becomes how you implement decorator. So the decorator takes the function as an input and returns a new function, and that is return the new function. The new function is going to be, this new function is going to be called from the original function, and then it will print this message here. So let's just define it to print the ordinary function. So let's call it outer decorator. Okay. You could call it outer decorator, but let's not pass any argument here. So we can now have print. This is outer decorator. Yeah. So now when you call the outer function, okay. When you call the outer function, it should be able to display what is within the what? The outer function. So let's try that and see. Hey, there's something up uncommented. I didn't save. Okay, type what is not callable. Let's first read the error. Briefly, I know it's almost time, but I'm going to explain this stuff and throw it in. Let's just see the line. The line 538. 538 is not the object is not callable. Okay. Let's use the tradition, but still. Oh. So what does it mean? The last line of our code 539 is causing our decorator to be called.
Sir,
Okay.
isn't 530? 530.
53 what? 530. 530. Oh, yeah. I think that should be able to fix that. Yeah. So this is how you implement it. Thanks for that quick look. All right, so this is how you implement decorators in Python. So we will stop this lecture today. Let's do the registration.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, like, what's the use of decorators in Python mainly?
Okay. The use of decorators in Python mainly is to allow you to modify the behavior of a function or a class without directly changing the source code. So that's the use of the decorator. Can I write it down? So decorator or decorators in Python allows you to modify the behavior of functions or classes without without directly changing, without directly changing their source code. Okay, so that is it. Let's register. That is it. So, but always know that you have to implement this underscore. You could use it anything, but you should just always make sure that this refers to the function. When you point over it, tells you function my decorator. So you have to use underscore. You can call it, this should be the decorator name that you're using it to call your function without changing the behavior of it. So that is it. Let's register. It's time up. I don't want to consume people's time. You will find the two concepts of it will just be like 30 minutes or even less. The two concepts of context manager and multi-threading and multi-processing in my masterclass. Okay. Thank you. Over to Dr. Ruth to stop the recording and then allow the students to enjoy their time. Let them not complain.
The link, Doctor, we don't have the link for registration.
I'll send it on email. I use email only. I'll send it on email.